been put on the spot and I've not prepared anything, so I'm just going to speak from the heart. I think, so as some of you may know, for the past 7 weeks, I had the privilege of spending time at the Super Speciality Hospital in Prashanthi Nilayam. And the way it came about, as Uncle Venkat was mentioning, was a very random thought, but as they say, thoughts with good intentions always manifest into something true. So never I would have imagined when last year, on my very last day of being in Prashanthi, when Uncle Venkat suggested, why don't you have a tour of the hospital? And I thought it was a good idea, it would be nice to see. And not only did I have a tour, again thanks to Uncle Venkat, but we managed to meet a few of the people there, we managed to meet the public relations officer, who personally gave me a tour around, which I felt very unworthy of, but nevertheless learned a lot. And finally it culminated in a meeting with the joint director of the hospital, Dr. Anil Kumar Mulpur, who had no reason to speak to me, but for some reason decided to get me in the conference room, have a word, and then out of nowhere said, change into scrubs, I'm going to show you around the department. And he's a cardiac surgeon, and he's the head of cardiac surgery in Prashanthi Nilayam, in the Prashanthi ground, the hospital. So he then took me last year, this was all last year, he took me around the operating theatre, and he made me see my first heart in person, in real life. And I had not expected, I didn't even think I'd get in the hospital. So that in itself was everything done, everything more than I could have wished for. After which he said, there was a boy like you who came last year, maybe you should come as well and do your elective. And I'll be honest, I had plans with some friends, we were going to go vacation, we were going to go holiday, and so nothing was uncertain, nothing was planned. And he suggested that, at which point I thought, okay, would be a nice idea. And then he then started telling people, here's this boy, he will come next year, he will spend a month. So it looks like things were decided for me, and I couldn't have been more grateful for that. So that's a blessing that I never could have hoped for. So I spent 7 weeks there. It was a beautiful privilege and a blessing. I think I had preconceived notions of it being, it'll be a peaceful time, I'll be in Prashanthi Nilayam, I'll go to the ashram, I'll attend bhajans, and then 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. But I think the message I got was, work is worship, at least for me. Because Swami didn't let me out of that hospital. I never got out. The only time I made it out was a Sunday, and I was there till 7 p.m., sometimes 8 p.m. So that was a message for me to learn. The biggest feeling I had was humility, because I thought, you've done 5 years, you've now made it, you become a doctor, and then you get sent back to square one, because you see how people are over there, how the doctors are, how passionate they are about medicine, how passionate they are about the hospital. And it brings you back to the ground. It keeps your feet on the ground, reminds you why any work you undertake, it should not be done for the sake of work. It has to be done with something higher in mind, because as they say, work is a manifestation of love, isn't it? So rather than just working for the sake of it, it always has to involve something higher, which was something I learned. A few things I read in the hospital, they were talking about how the hospital was inaugurated, and how Swami said that when they laid the foundation stone, that in 1 year this hospital will be fully inaugurated. And it's a massive, big, beautiful building. And exactly in 1 year this hospital was inaugurated. The same date, whatever Swami said. And I tell myself 1 week to do a project, I can't even get it done. So it shows you the power of, the will, the divine will, and something that we can aspire to, and it's always accessible to us if we want. There are multiple aspects. Of course, the medical aspect was unreal. The caseload I would have never seen anywhere. I don't want to bore you with the medical details. But the long story short was, hearts are normally on the left, for those that know. And I managed to see one on the right, which was very surreal, and it was open heart as well. And it's just a blessing to take away, because now I'll never forget this experience. So the caseload was simply, it's a very bittersweet because one hand you're very excited, medically this is very interesting and you can learn a lot. But then it tells you about the people in India, the conditions they grew up in, and how many, the sheer number, the waiting list is so long, and so the amount of time and work they put in to get through these patients is mind-blowing. So it was a bittersweet experience, and I have to say I learned a lot medically as well. I got to do a lot of things, but I'm not going to bore you with the details. The most important was the spiritual side to it. I think never did I ever imagine to be in an operating theatre and you have pictures of Swami, and everywhere you go they say Swami walked here, Swami sat there, Swami was here, and you're there and you're representing, Swami, and you're representing the medical team. So that was very surreal when patients come up to you and say Sai Ram, and I'm not doing anything, I'm not doing their operation, but nevertheless they show you the love and it gives you a responsibility, which is something I'll take away with me. And the standards were simply top notch, exactly like how it would be anywhere else. So it was a beautiful opportunity, and special mention to my supervisor there, Dr. Anil Kumar, who was a very inspiration to all of us, to me as particularly, because it's a big balance. Cardiac surgery is a very tough specialty, but he doesn't compromise on his own lifestyle. So it's 5 a.m., Nagar Sankirtan, bhajans, prayers, and then he's sharp in the operating theatre. And once the case finishes, straight the car goes to Prashanti Nilayam, attends his bhajans every day, Monday to Saturday. And I've never seen, any the dedication like that. It's a bit scary, right? But it was nice to see it in real life because it's doable, I think is what it was. I told him, I think if I become 50% of the man you are, I think I'll be exceptional. So it was really nice to meet all these role models. And the message is hopefully to come back. I'd really love to come back, go back, do service, refresh every year. And yeah, just walking out, operating theatre, bhajans playing in the background, pictures of Swami everywhere. It's just something you would never find in a normal hospital. But the lesson for me is I think you can recreate that experience. So hopefully I can take away when I go back to the UK and start work. One of the doctors said when Swami inaugurates hospitals, and it's not just the hospitals in Whitefield or Prashanti Nilayam. Swami's in every single hospital. Swami's in every heart, right? So I'd come out of an operation looking at a heart, and then they're saying, Prem Ishwara hai, har dhadkan mein sai zuma hai, and you've just seen heartbeats in real life. So I think if you really look hard enough, and you don't even have to look hard, if you just look, you will find Swami in all walks of life. So that was a humbling experience, and I hope when I start work, I can incorporate that experience as well. But yeah, other than that, it's a blessing, it's a privilege. I'm so thankful to Swami first off, and to all his instruments, to Uncle Venkat.
Talk about the last day of your darshan, how you got into
the last day of?
You got
darshan.
You went with
with Uncle Murli, yeah. Oh, there's actually two things I'd say. So one, the last day, I think I went to meet Uncle Murali, who was the PRO of Prashanti Nilayam, and he was the one who very kindly made a call to the director of the hospital and put in a word. So yeah, I just wanted to see him, express my thanks, and then make a leave because it was my last day. I was going to go the next day. But not only did he keep me in, spoke to me for hours on end, asked me about my experience, and then proceeded to grant me some VIP darshan. I wasn't expecting it. Told me to keep my phone, and just brought me front row, seats to say bye. His words were this: say bye to Swami, have a good send off. And these things come unexpected. You don't, it just comes through people's love. And I think, that's how we see Swami in everyone, to the love that people show. And for that, I'm always blessed and humble. And the last thing I wanted to end was actually the last year when I went to visit, Uncle Venkat was saying, if you can imagine, there's a room in the hospital in Prashanti Nilayam, in the Super Speciality, where Swami spent his last days and left his mortal body. And last year Uncle Venkat said, don't have any expectations, see if you can get a visit, but don't worry about it if you can't. I didn't expect anything, I'd already got more than I expected. So last year I didn't do anything. This year I went in, I didn't think about it. it was just in the back of my mind, but I never asked, I never bothered, I didn't want to find out. And I was busy anyways, I was always in the theatre. And I think randomly on a Tuesday, I happened to walk past the corridor, and then I see the surgeons who I'm working with, and they were standing outside and chit-chatting and something in some room outside, opposite some room. Like, what are you guys doing here? You know, let's get some coffee or something. Like, no, we're decorating. Decorating? Since when did surgeons did decoration? And then they were like, oh, you've not seen this? And I think it then started hitting me, oh wait, this sounds familiar. And so then they're like, you should come in. And we go in, and then there's the room, and then it makes sense. And it was a bit surreal because everyone was packing and setting up the room, so it wasn't in a state for darshan at that moment. So it was a very busy room. I stepped in for 2 minutes, and I had a brief view, and I thought, okay, well, I guess this is it. I'm blessed to be here. And I mean, it must have slipped my mind. I didn't know the dates, I didn't know the time, because then one of the people there said, you're going to be here this Thursday, right? I said, yes, I am. And I said, okay, you should come for darshan. What's this? Okay, I thought it was just a Thursday thing, but it turns out it was Aradhana Day. And you know, that was the day, if any day, to be in that room. And I'd spent 1 year thinking about this room. I never went in, and the timing is always perfect. The timing's always right. And that was the first time I went, and the last time in that whole placement. I never got to go again the next 4 weeks. So, so these are things I'll take away with me for sure. It's a blessing. I can't say anything else, and I hope I can at least try to do my best in whatever I do. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity. Sign up.